Irreverent, entertaining, cool. You're listening to LA Talk Radio.
You're listening to Female Filmmakers Views with Alexa Polar and Robin Pabello, only on LA Talk Radio.
Thank you for listening. I'm your host, Alexa Polar. This is Female Filmmakers Views. Robin's not in today. She's on vacation. And let me go ahead and give you that phone number to call in. It's 818-602-4929. I'll say it one more time. 818-602-4929. You can always catch us later. Obviously, you can catch us live here on the LA Talk Radio, whether it's the app, online at their actual website, or on Facebook. You can actually watch us live on Facebook. And later we do go on YouTube. We share it there, and we go on all the podcasting streamers like iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, etc. I'm not going to go through all of them because there's so many. So it's easy to find, and I encourage you always tune in, listen, share. I'm really excited to have this amazing, talented, multi-talented. I mean, like, you do everything. You could probably do this show and I can walk away. Let me make sure I have your. Can you?
Yeah.
There we go. Now your mic's on.
Awesome.
Perfect. Okay, Angela.
Yes.
I'm not going to say your last name.
Not a problem.
Please say your last name.
Angela Matamocha.
And that's why I didn't say it, folks. It's a beautiful last name. What is where is it?
South African.
Lovely. Welcome, Angela.
Thank you so much for having me, Alexa. This is awesome.
Yeah, we've been chatting for a little bit. I mean, not chatting. Obviously before the show started, but exchanging emails, and I'm really glad that you're here. You have a plethora of credits, so we could say you're an established filmmaker, correct? An actress as well. So you're an actress, you're a writer, you're a director, and a producer. Holy heck, woman. How do you have time to do anything else?
Oh, gosh. It's a balancing act for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I'm always tired, but it's okay.
But that's okay, right? Because you're working, you keep them busy, and you're doing what you love.
Yes.
And that's key. So all these four components you don't always do together. Because sometimes you get, you're doing films. I believe you were on a Tyler Perry
film, years ago in Atlanta, where your co-host is at the moment.
That's right.
I went to Atlanta to shoot that. That was fun.
Yeah, sounds like fun. So you got to work with him, and I'm sure amazing people on that set. And then so that was just your acting chops right there. But let's talk about the project that you are here to promote, which I had the honor and pleasure of watching, and I do recommend to everyone because it goes live. Correct? It's going to be on the 2nd.
Yes.
So I'm glad that you're here today so that we can promote this, and I can encourage everyone to watch it when it comes out on the 2nd.
And it's so crazy because at the time that we first got in contact, I didn't know when our release date was.
Oh, really?
But then I remember I was going to come on Mother's Day. I'm like, oh, I can't. It's Mother's Day.
Right.
And then later it was Father's Day. I'm like, oh, I can't. It's Father's Day. And then it just happened to fall into place. So thank you so much. It's so wild. You never know.
Perfect timing because it's coming out this week on Tuesday.
Yes.
So, Tuesday Taco with an awesome movie called Elevate.
Yes.
So get your tacos and watch this great movie.
There you go.
I think,
or maybe not if you've seen the film.
No, what do you mean? What are you saying? No, it's good. I like the fact that I'm not going to give too much away, but I will say that I like how it all ties together.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because you star in it as well, and you're kind of connected to other characters, and that's not fully revealed. You get the idea that it kind of is until the more you get into it.
Yeah. It's a slow build.
But it's a good build.
Oh,
it's
good.
a good build, and it's an interesting thing because you play a dispatch operator for people that are stuck in elevators, and I'm looking at you like, could I say this?
Yeah.
That doesn't give it away.
Yeah, no, it doesn't.
But and it's one of those things that I have a fear of, like being in an elevator and getting stuck.
Me too. Yeah.
Is this an actual thing? And then did you research, because you wrote this as well? Is this what they actually do? And it's kind of like, oh, someone will be there, just hang on, just relax. And then sometimes it takes a long time.
It's funny. People have asked me that question, and maybe that's the case, but I have no
Oh, so
idea.
you're
I
just
just made it up.
That's great. I believed it. I believed it.
I'm like, she'll just be the dispatch operator if there is such a thing. Who knows? You
I
know.
think there is, but that's just crazy, because I was wondering. I was like, I wonder if that's how it is. 'Cause-
When I got stuck,
so you were actually stuck in the
oh
elevator.
yeah,
Oh
and it
my
was like within a
goodness.
month, and my sister and her child were also stuck that month. It was like, this is really weird, and I'm claustrophobic. I am so claustrophobic.
Mm-mm.
And we were stuck, and the fire department came,
Okay.
right? So I think that's how it usually works. Although I know there are elevator technicians,
Yes.
so there are people that will go out and fix elevators. The dispatch thing, probably not, but
Right.
that's okay.
You never know. You know, I feel like it is though. And it's interesting. I lived in an apartment in Long Beach, which we were talking about. You
Mhm.
know, I was raised in Long Beach in the house.
LBC.
And there was one of my first apartments there. The elevator was just horrible. I mean, it never stopped. You know, leveled with the floor. There's times where we were a foot off.
Yep. Yep.
And I'll never forget this one incident that I had where I got in the elevator, and I was on the very top floor, and I hit that, and it went to the roof for some reason. So it kept going. No one else was in there with me. It just kept going, and then it kind of shook when it got up there, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna die today. And then it came down, and then it stopped, but it wasn't even a foot. It was like maybe half of it, and it opened.
So you could see like the in between
Yes,
floors.
yes,
Yes,
that
that's
was
horrible.
the scariest
Yes.
thing. And I jumped out of that elevator. I'm glad it didn't chop me in half, because I didn't think of that. That I just wanted to get out.
Yep.
I got out, and then after that, I walked the stairs. I took the stairs every time after that. I was just like, no, this place sucks.
Yep.
Because complaint manager didn't matter. That place was
Yep.
just like, nope. That was the only thing that was bad about that apartment, was the elevator.
The elevator.
Which
But
sucked.
that's enough though.
That
And there
is-
are certain buildings I will not use the elevator. I'll use the stairs. Even today coming here, funny enough, I got locked in the stairwell.
You did. I get out of the elevator, and I'm here, boom, 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 and I was like, I look to my right, and I'm like, I wonder if that's my guest. I wonder if that's Angela. And there you go. And you're like, hello, and I'm like, and you're like, Alexa, and I'm like, that's Angela.
Oh my
I'm
god,
glad you're
such
here.
a dope I am. Oh my goodness. But yeah, I just assumed that the door would open, and then I realized, oh, it's locked. I can't get in. Maybe I should have taken the elevator.
You're like, I watched my film. I'm not gonna get in the elevator. I spooked myself.
Totally, so funny.
But that's good. I'm glad that you were knocking when that door opened. I don't know if you were knocking the whole time, or if you just
Yeah, and I could
it.
hear the
Okay.
elevator as well. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Or
Mhm.
you're like, okay, that's her. That's her.
Yeah.
She's got to be coming up right now.
So silly.
But okay, so let's get into this elevator.
Mm.
Where did you film it?
We shot different elevators. One, I mean, over Los Angeles,
Okay.
right? But one of the main elevators was built in my dad's clinic. We built the interior of the elevator.
Mm.
And then another elevator, it was sort of an elevator prop that was put up in downtown LA
Okay.
at this sort of studio space. So the elevators all around LA, we shot in the Valley. We shot, mostly in the Valley, Silver Lake, all over Los Angeles.
Okay.
Yeah,
Very
yeah.
cool. Very cool. So that kind of helps.
Yeah.
I mean, to get into it, because you're like, where's your location?
Yeah, yeah,
I'm in an elevator. I don't
exactly.
know the location.
Yeah. So the exteriors were done at a different location for
Right.
the first elevator.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds really cool. And what inspired you? Was it the fact that you and your sister got stuck in an elevator the same month, or what was it that inspired you to write this book? Because it's not just about elevators. Let's talk about it. It's more in depth.
Yeah.
It touches on very deep
Mhm.
issues.
Oh,
Which is great, because you're sitting there going like, okay, this is, oh damn, like
Good.
oh, they went there. Like,
Yes,
oh,
they
and they
did.
went there too. Okay.
Yes.
So that was really
Yes.
good. What was it that inspired you? Was it a different things? What was it that inspired you to write this? Because you wrote this.
Mm-hmm. Definitely being claustrophobic. At that time, when I was stuck in the elevator, this was years ago, I ended up being stuck in the elevator with a coworker that I really liked.
Okay.
At that particular job, there was a coworker that we were not friends.
Okay.
So after getting rescued by the fire department on my way home, I thought, oh my goodness, what if I was stuck in there with so and so, who's completely opposite politically, spiritual, in any everything.
Gotcha.
And I'm like, thank God I was trapped with homegirl instead of him. So that kind of inspired the idea of like, being trapped in a space, confronted with someone that's the complete opposite of you.
And you have to deal with those issues.
And you have to deal with those issues. But then on the other side of that, I also thought, what if we actually walked away from that with a new sort of point of view or a new sort of insight about one another, which, not to give too much away, but kind of happens to a certain degree in Elevate,
Right. And it does. And in real life, because it's not that you change completely, because some people you just can't change.
Mm-hmm.
But then you understand why they are that way.
Yes.
And it kind of just like, all right, that makes sense.
Yes. Empathy.
Yeah, that's exactly keyword right there. Because with everything that's going on politically speaking right now, that's what it comes down to. You get into shouting matches on social media when you share something and people don't like what you share. That's why I've gone to the lengths of unfriending people, because it's just not worth it to me. If I want to share something, it's my opinion. If they want to share something, it's their opinion. For the most part, if someone I disagree with shares something, I try not to say anything. I read the comments, and then that says a lot too, because you see the people that support them, and
you can learn from those comments.
Absolutely.
It's like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
They really think that.
Right. They really think that.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. And it's my thing is, though, when it comes to that, is I give it time, and I feel like you're the same way, and I know there's a lot of people that do the same, where you find that empathy. You listen to them and you hear them out, and even though it's not going to change your point of view, you have an understanding as to why they are that way. I wonder what they are, because usually what I find is that it gets heated and nothing obviously is changed, but I've learned something. I wonder if they learned something.
Yeah, and that's always the goal, right?
Right, because I don't know if they do.
Right.
I don't know. I know what I learned.
Yeah.
I don't know what they've learned, if they did anything, because a lot of times they just walk away angry or leave a chat angry because, they just couldn't get me to bend. And I'm not there to bend them.
No.
I'm just there to say, here's what I think and why I think that. Tell me why you think what you think.
Yes.
And sometimes they don't explain why they think that way. They just keep going on. I can't stand people that I'm going to send you a link of this. Read this, so educate yourself. I'm like, no, I want to hear why what you think. Yes. But it's interesting because ironically, and I don't know if that's part of the reason why you wrote this or bits and pieces of it, it still is very relevant to what we're going through today.
No, it is. And it's the character of Leon, he came out of a real exchange that I had with someone online.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
An African American gentleman that did not had.
We have a call. I apologize.
Oh, that's okay.
Hi, caller. You're on the air. Can I get your name and where you're calling from?
Yes, my name is Daniel, and I wanted to listen to a program.
Papa, you're on the air.
Yeah, but I wanted to hear it.
You wanted to hear it. I sent you the link.
I love this. You sent him the link?
I sent you the link, Papa. I texted it to you. But you're live. You're live on the radio. This is my dad, who's also plays Sipo.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well done, sir. Really?
Yeah.
Was that his first time acting?
Yeah.
Oh, you did really amazing.
Thank you so much.
You must be proud of your daughter. You must be so proud of your daughter. She's amazing.
Very much so. Very proud indeed.
That's amazing.
Papa, I'll send you the link afterwards.
Okay. I have the link. I just don't know. It just shows all kinds of personalities, and
Oh,
Click on the one that
it's
says
the website.
you click on when you go on the website, click on channel 2. It'll be channel 1 and channel 2. As soon as you click on channel 2, you'll be hearing us live.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much.
No problem. I believe it's an orange button, so just click on the orange button that says channel 2, and then you can hear us live.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
thanks for calling in.
So obviously we serve as technical support here as well.
Yes, yes.
We had a call in while you were speaking to your father. Please call if you want to call in again.
Oh
Please
my
do.
gosh, that's hilarious.
Oh, there we are. There you are. Okay, caller. Hi, caller. You're on the air. Can I get your name and where you're calling from?
Hi, my name is Olga. I'm calling from Los Angeles.
Hi, Olga. And you have a question for Angela, I presume, because Angela's here giggling. So let's get that, Olga. What's your question for Angela?
I just wanted to know what her inspiration was. What if it was based on life experiences, or basically where her inspiration came from for the film.
Hi, Olga.
Hi.
You're so silly. We just talked about this, and for everybody listening, this is my sweet little sister, Olga.
Wow.
This is so. Oh my god, I'm all red right now.
I love it.
Family calling in.
No, hey, it's support. That's amazing. I love that.
No,
I
it
love
is.
that.
It is. And Olga Papa just called in. He thought anyway. My family's nuts, y'all. Oh
Yeah.
gosh.
This is great. I gave technical support to your father. I had to direct him
good.
on live air how to listen
my
to the
gosh.
show. So why don't you answer your sister Olga's question?
Hi, Olga. Yes.
Hi.
Hi. As you know, well, inspiration came from being claustrophobic. A lot of these issues in the world. I was just telling Alexa about the character of Leon, how that was actually his character was based off of an online sort of exchange I had with a gentleman that didn't agree with homosexuality. We were talking about the Matthew Shepard Act. So that definitely inspired that character to sort of get behind why does he feel so strongly. I mean, literally wrote, in the Bible it says man shouldn't lay. Like I was like, just wow. Okay, what's behind
I
all
didn't
this?
know about that online exchange.
Oh, really? Oh, I have to show it to you. It was gnarly.
Mhm.
And then the other elevator story, South Africa. I'm from South Africa, where my dad is, and I spent 6 months there back in 2005, 2006, and was just really inspired by the change. And I had a lot of questions, especially, post-apartheid, a lot of interesting stuff. And then, of course, the storyline with Trina and Gunther, definitely the elevator thing, but also just coping mechanisms and what people do to sort of cope. And we see Trina's journey.
There you go.
So that's it. Thanks for calling in. You're so funny.
Well. Okay. Well, great.
Thank you, Olga. Do you have any other questions or comments? She's like, your sister's like, no, she doesn't. Like,
Oh, you said coping.
Yes.
That's a question I actually do have.
Oh.
So then, at the end of the film, when we have what's her face going back home to South Africa?
Don't give the film away.
so you have a character that's going
Yes.
back.
Yes.
Okay, go on. I've seen it. I know.
I forgot her name.
I know which part you're talking about. The female character. We'll just leave it at that, so we don't give it away. So when that character's going back, yes.
Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Well, then I can't. My question would give it away, so I take that back.
Okay, you can ask me later.
Yes, I will.
Have a great day, Olga.
But, yeah, have a good day. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for calling in.
Bye.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.
Family support. Shout out to family.
Goodness, you're so funny.
No, that's good though. That's good.
No, I'm incredibly blessed with an amazing family.
Oh, same.
Yeah.
I feel it.
Yeah.
So that was part of your altercation online when it came to that, because you were discussing the Michael Shepard.
Yes. It was when his mom was putting out a petition. This is before the act was even in place. This is years ago. Put out a petition so people would sign it so it would become law. And I believe it was, the law ended up being the Matthew Shepard Act is about, violence
Right.
against homosexuals is a crime and
Right.
should be punished to the full extent of the law.
I mean, it's crazy that she had to go to that extent when
Yeah.
you're doing that.
Yeah.
You would think common sense.
You would think.
You would think.
So that's why it was so shocking. This gentleman's response was against it. And what blew my mind,
So he was
regardless,
okay with violence against.
you know?
All right.
Yeah. So these kind of conversations and topics really inspired me to write what I wrote because I want to get behind the mind of someone that thinks differently. It's like,
Right.
why? What's the fear? And I really feel that's what it is at the end of the day. Is fear, is the not knowing, not understanding,
Not understanding.
Not
Not allowing yourself to understand.
and you won't allow yourself to understand if you're not around people that are different from you.
Exactly.
That's key.
This is
That's
true.
key.
This is very, and I think that's why you see there's a difference, like within the United States, where they say blue states, red states,
Mm-hmm.
because if you look at the blue states, there's a lot of people from all over the world that come there, right? And I think that's why we're very progressive, we're very liberal, if you
Mhm.
will, and I think they use that in the wrong term instead of saying liberal, meaning we're more understanding and we have the key word again, empathy towards
Mhm.
each other. Where if you go to a red state, they're not seeing so much of that. They see themselves constantly and they don't want to expand from that. So they grew up with that. They were raised into that
Yes.
and then they're going to raise others into it
Yes.
and it continues until, and I think they have, like you said, the fear factor of if you hear what the predictions are by, what is it, 22 or 2042,
Hmm.
how what the majority will be and what the minority will be. So it's going to completely tip the scale. It's going to change.
Yeah.
So you're not, and I think that's one of the biggest fears that they have is that they don't want to tip that scale. Right now, they're fighting.
To hold on to
Being
the great America.
Right.
Mhm.
Quote unquote. Right.
Mhm.
Yes. And it's interesting. So your film deals with obviously
Racism.
bigotry, racism,
Homophobia.
homophobia,
All
and
the
then
fun stuff.
all the fun stuff. And then you deal with a lot of you have a very creative way of dealing with body shaming.
Hmm.
And that's what I love about it because it's not fully in your face.
Right.
It's kind of like a little dash of salt and pepper here and there. It's
Yes.
kind of like
Subtle.
Yeah. Thank you. Subtle. Thank you.
Yeah.
That was the word I was looking for, and you found it.
Yeah. No. I
But
get it.
it's just around a right amount. And when you're thinking of the previous scene, because it makes you think.
Good.
All of a sudden you have this. Oh, he said that to her. Like what the, and this poor woman is dealing with this stuff, and
Mhm.
then you deal with it very well because that's your character.
Yeah.
You deal with it well. So, you wrote that because why you've dealt with that, especially with this industry, or
Not with
'Cause I kn-
that specifically. I mean, anyone that knows my personality, I'm definitely not a doormat, sort of how this
Right.
character had to be. However, it was important for me to have empathy for overweight people, for fat people,
Mhm.
whatever you want to call it, you
Right.
know? And I know in my own experience in life, I've had my own judgments, not just
Mhm.
about my own body,
Mhm.
but if I do see an extremely overweight person, I have to check myself like, wow, I'm thinking these thoughts.
Mhm.
And again, what is it? No one wants to weigh 400 pounds, 500 pounds. Nobody wants that.
Right.
What's underneath that?
Exactly.
What's really going on?
Yeah.
So I had to ask those questions for myself as well. I'm like, why am I stuffing? What's going on?
Right,
We hear
right.
this phrase all the time. It's not what you're eating, it's what's eating you,
Right.
right?
This is true.
Right?
This is true.
Which we begin to learn by
Yeah.
the end of Elevate and Trina's situation, right?
Yeah.
So it was a lot of that on for all the sort of storylines and characters. Like what's underneath? We're so used to in our society just judging a book by its cover.
Very.
Just bam, I do
extremely
it.
It's a natural
Yeah,
thing. It's a
we
normal
do.
thing.
Yes,
It's a
yes.
normal thing. But it's
Let's
what
go
makes
deeper.
what makes you stand out from that and what makes you understand others is when you question yourself. Why am I judging? Why am I
Yes.
looking at this person?
Yes.
And that's what we all need to do, because
Yes.
it is natural. We all do it.
Absolutely.
No one's perfect. We
Right.
all do it. We, whether we judge on various things, on how they look, what they're doing, it doesn't matter.
Anything, race, shape,
Anything.
size. We
Anything.
have our preconditioned sort of default
Yes.
mindsets, right?
Yes. And then the moment you stop and be like, wait, why did I think that?
Yeah.
That's when you're willing to change and open up.
Yes.
And that's
Yes.
important.
Yes.
Now, it's ironic. I was in the military. I was in the Army
wow.
Reserve. So early 20s, when I was in my early 20s, for most of my childhood to that time frame, I want to say, I was like 115. The most I weighed was 120, and I was pretty in shape without really doing much.
Right.
Okay, so I would be active, but I wasn't the type of person that would go to a gym, or I wouldn't go on runs. I just didn't like exercising. So I don't know how I survived being in the Army, but what I was thinking, don't ask. But the irony of it was life throws your curveball.
Happens, yeah.
Right. So my father was in a coma. We went through so many things. He's still with us, but we were going through things that we were really scared of, my brothers and I, And I didn't realize it at the time that I was working at an office, and all of a sudden I was changing. I was from an office to the hospital. That's where we were. And then it got to the point where I was no longer at the office. I was just at the hospital. And then I was wearing sweatpants a lot. It was during the winter time. My dad was in a coma, and I forget the exact year right now, because 2004, and he got out of it 2005. So we celebrated Christmas, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, everything was in the hospital.
Wow.
And then so when he came to, it was a different year. And then he was at a different home, so he didn't understand what happened.
What was going on?
He was
yeah.
completely confused, right? He didn't even realize that he was in this coma. But it was just interesting because I didn't realize what I was doing to myself. And no one told me, not that they needed to, because it wasn't about me. We were focused on my father. But
of course.
It wasn't until later, like my friend at the time was just like, yeah, I noticed it, but I didn't say anything because I knew what you were going through.
Exactly.
And my mom said the same thing. And I was eating my stress.
Yep.
I went from 120 was the most I weighed at the time. I think I could have been less, to over 200.
Yeah.
That was a crazy amount of weight.
That is, yeah.
And I went down to 140 at one point because of stress again. And then I'm going up again. But the thing is like I'm trying to get to a point, not looking at the numbers, but being where I'm content and healthy.
Yes.
I am at the point where in life where I don't care if I'm a bigger woman.
Right.
I just want to be where I'm okay with
you're
it.
healthy.
Yeah. Because the thing is, like, regardless of what size I am, healthy wise, my blood pressure, sugar, cholesterol, all that is good.
Me too. Yeah.
Right. And so a lot of people look at anyone that's bigger and they're always saying, well, they're unhealthy because of the whole Nike mannequin thing. People were going off on that. Like,
right. But there's also this thing of skinny fat, right? Of people that are visually thin,
right,
but they're fat because they either don't have much muscle mass or they're living on Skittles and cigarettes and Diet Cokes.
You know that person too?
No. But do you know what I mean?
No,
so obviously you don't want to, being grossly overweight is not going to be healthy for your organs.
Right.
But everyone's body is different, and not some people will never be a size 0 or what have you, you know?
Exactly. And that's the thing is, like, if someone saw me or met me during the heaviest moments of my life and they judged me based on that, they would have never known why or how I got to that point.
Yes.
They just, a lot of people judge and think, that girl likes to eat.
Yes.
And that's it. And they have no idea that I wasn't even, the irony was I wasn't even really eating.
Yep.
Whatever I was eating was unhealthy, and it was stress, and that just added to everything.
That's something that's always fascinated me because over the years, I've definitely bounced between different weights. What's always interesting to me is how people treat you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm treated so differently at one weight than another
Yes.
weight. And I'm still the
Oh.
same person.
Oh, I get you.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, really?
Yes.
This is interesting.
Yeah.
On both ways, you
Yeah.
know?
Yes.
Yeah. It's you know, yeah.
Good point. That's a good point.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
true.
and I think that's why you're able to show more empathy, have more experience with learning to listen to others because you've experienced it firsthand. So you have that
Yes.
perspective where others don't have that.
Right.
And it takes them either something to happen
Mm-hmm.
or it takes them a lot to learn.
Yes.
If they ever do.
That's one of the reasons why the Lola character was very important to
Mhm.
write as well.
Yes.
You know, because she's a type of character that we just judge right away. We just think, oh, she's perfect. And I mean, everything's fine in her world.
And then
Maybe not.
maybe not.
Maybe not.
Yeah. And I'm glad you said that because that's true.
Yeah.
You know, let's see one sec. Hi, caller, you're on the air. Can I get your name and where you're calling from?
Hello?
You do this
Hello?
person. Hello.
Hi, Mom.
I'm Jill.
This is just
Hi.
hilarious. Hi, Mom. You're on the radio live. Thank you for calling.
Oh, no, not live. Yeah, I know it is. Как дела? Как дела?
Как дела, Mama? Я говорю по-русски чуть-чуть. This is my mom, who's obviously Russian. Mom, you said you were too shy to call. Thank you for calling.
Well, I'm trying, Angel.
Do you have a
Hey,
question? Or did you want to say anything?
No, I'm just saying I love you and have fun today.
Oh,
Okay?
Okay, Mom.
That's
Thank
lovely.
you.
Okay. Okay, love you back, Angela.
Love
Bye.
you too. Пока.
that's amazing.
my God.
That is amazing.
She literally texted me. She's like, I'm too shy. I'm like, I know. It's okay.
That's so. I love your parents. I haven't met them, but this is so great. Now you said she's Russian.
Yes.
Okay, so let's get into that because I was reading your bio.
Mm-hmm.
You just based on meeting you, obviously you're very talented because you can, aside from the looks, you can play different characters because I've seen that you've done that, meaning different backgrounds. You know, you play Hispanic women.
Mm-hmm.
So do you do the accent?
When I go in for Latina roles, I do the accent sometimes.
So you had to study for that.
I live in LA.
Sometimes they ask because sometimes, like, I'm Latina and
Yeah.
you can't really hear it.
Right.
People meet me and they don't know what I am. Some people think I'm Greek for some reason.
Yeah, I could see that.
So I get that. So you can pass off on many things.
Yeah, and people speak Spanish to me all the time.
And then you threw me a curveball by saying Russian.
You know, as you do.
What?
I was born in the former Soviet Union, so I am half Russian, and my father is South African.
Okay.
So that's why I look the way I look.
Amazing.
Latin.
Beautiful. No, yeah.
Then I look Latin.
So that's what you get.
That's what you get
That's what
when you
you
mix
get.
South African with Russian.
And that's Latinos. That's what salsa is. It's a mixture. And
Yeah.
ironically, that's where the salsa music comes from because it's a mixture of things. And
Ah.
Latinos represent that. We're like, you never know.
Yeah, no, it's so true. It's so true. And funny enough, my father speaks fluent Spanish.
Oh, really?
Yes, where his clinic is, the majority of his patients are Hispanic. I would say maybe 80 to 90%. So he
Okay.
speaks perfect Spanish.
Nice.
Yeah, and people are always shocked because he's a black man. It's like, what? Although there are very many black Hispanics all over the world.
Yeah. I'm Peruvian.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So when you go to Peru, there's a lot of Japanese influence.
Interesting.
And so I remember the first time I went to Peru. Now I was born there, but I've been here in California since I was 7 months old.
Okay.
First time I went back to Peru, I was 12. Okay. So I didn't know anything. It was the first time me going there, and I thought this is interesting.
But you spoke Spanish.
I spoke Spanish
Okay.
because of my parents.
Right.
And my brother and I, who was born here in California, my younger brother, we went to the liquor store down the street from where we were staying at my aunt's house in Peru. And there was this cute little Asian couple. And I looked at my brother, and this is how, I want to say a little ignorance on my part, but I was 12, so keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in Long Beach, and that's what you saw a lot of the liquor stores. They were, at the time,
Korean. owned.
yes.
Yes.
So when I went there and I saw this cute little Asian couple, And I was just like looking at them. I was like, they know English, because I was just basing it on what I knew growing up
Right.
in Long Beach. And every time I went to like a little liquor store, that's what I saw. Mom pop shop. That's what you saw.
Yeah.
So me and my brother just started talking to her in English, like the wife, and they looked at each other, and then they started talking in Spanish. And my brother and I were just like, what is happening? We didn't put it together where we were at. We just thought, oh.
I completely relate. Yeah, seeing
Yeah.
Asian faces, you're not expecting Spanish to come out.
And then
yeah.
my parents explained to me like the history of Peru and how there was a lot of Japanese that were there, and so it's still there's a lot of, that's why we had President Fujimori, who was of Japanese descent.
Wow.
So we see that a lot. There's a lot of mixture there,
Yes,
from
yes.
Obviously 'cause Spain went everywhere and they raped everyone.
Yes,
That's a joke,
yes.
but so you have a lot of that, and there's Spanish in my blood, and then there's no Japanese, but we see it in Peru. So it's like, I get what you're saying. You're going to see a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Just
yeah.
because you come here and you think like, oh, if they're this, and they obviously are from here.
Right.
And you touch on that on Elevate.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, it's the whole judging a book by its cover, right?
Right. Oh, you must be Jamaican.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Character does say that to my father's character.
Mhm.
Yeah. Which he used to get a lot all the time, because we grew up in Torrance, and people didn't know what to make of his accent. A black man accent, okay, Jamaican.
Mm-hmm.
They never thought, bigger or just different, not bigger, but just, from a further place.
Right.
That's what we're used to, I guess, in our culture. Bob Marley, he had an accent. Okay, off you
that's
go.
what it is.
Yeah.
And you don't even take the time to listen to the accent, that it's different.
Yeah.
You're just thinking like, oh, accent, that's where you are.
Mm-hmm.
Categorized there because you look like that and you sound like sort of that. That's what you are.
Yep, that's enough. Yes.
And then something I learned, we had a festival once, and we had a band called, a group called Overtone. And they're from South Africa.
Ooh.
And they were at the time managed, and they were put together by Clint Eastwood's then wife. I forget her name.
Huh.
They're not together anymore. But she was their manager. She fell in love with them, and then they used that band for that Invictus, the film Invictus.
Oh.
So the music, they're an a cappella band. The music that you hear in Invictus was by this band named Overtone, who again are no longer together. They disband.
But they're from South Africa.
But they're from South Africa. We
wow.
invited them, and they said yes, and they came and performed for free at a festival that we hosted. And when they came up, there I think there was a five or six of them. There was only one black man, and then the rest of them were white.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people were like, wait, I thought they were from South Africa.
Yes, you see white people, you're like, that's not African.
Right?
Yeah.
But that's when you don't take the time to look outside of yourself.
Yes, and again, that's why again, traveling is key if you can, or if you can't travel, at least read books that written by authors from other lands and cultures. It's so important,
Yes. Yes. Have you been to Florida?
I've never been to Florida, funny enough. I know I know people that do live there, and I know it's a very culturally intense sort of place.
It is.
That I do know, and I think it's an interesting state. Just what I see, what happens in the news in Florida
I don't get Florida.
I don't.
You would think it would be more liberal. I don't understand it.
It's,
Florida just blows my mind. I don't get it.
yeah,
I love going there.
yeah. I've never been.
Because I like going to the Florida Keys, and
yeah.
I went one time for a film festival.
Okay.
I'll share this really quick. We were there, and I left my medication. I didn't bring it, so I called Walgreens,
Mm-hmm.
and they said, "No worries, like we'll have it at where you're staying." And I told them, and it's like, "There's a Walgreens 5 minutes away. You can go there, and we'll have the length of time for free." And I was like, "Oh, great." Which is weird plug on Walgreens. It's great. But I go to this Walgreens, and it's a Walgreens, right? You don't think anything of it. It's not a small mom pop shop. It's a Walgreens. And that's why I emphasize on what it is. And I go in there, and as soon as I walk in, I'm with my, at the time, friend, and they hear, as soon as we walk in, they just greet us in Spanish and start talking to us in Spanish. And my friend knows my family, so she learned Spanish. So she just nonchalantly like, starts talking to them in Spanish, and I'm sitting there going like, what is happening? And the reason why I thought it was interesting is because if you go to Walgreens here, they don't greet you in Spanish.
No, they don't.
And these people that were greeting us were not Latino.
Oh,
So
interesting.
they had an accent like they learned Spanish, but I think they were just so used to
The
Latinos.
Cuban
Yeah,
culture. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
That they just started speaking in Spanish to everyone that walked in. And my friend is obviously not Latina,
Oh, wow.
and she just started talking. So I'm like looking at them, going like, I feel like we're in another country,
Yes.
but we're not.
Yeah.
And everyone's just like okay with it. So I thought that was an interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. I called my parents and was like, you guys can easily come to
Come
Florida.
to Florida.
'Cause, the politics aside, you can talk your language easily here, no matter where you go. And I thought that was interesting because it was in a small location. It was a chain, an
A
establishment.
chain. Yeah, yeah.
And everyone there that I don't even think there was one employee that was Latino.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I definitely get that here. Like if I'm in a Ralph's, the cashier will definitely speak Spanish to me, but I in a neighborhood that has a lot of Hispanics,
Right.
and it's a Ralph, so you just kind of, answer as
Yeah.
best you can.
Right.
Yeah.
So you speak Spanish?
No, I don't.
That's why you said as best as you
As
can.
best as you can,
Don't have
gracias,
none,
de nada, lo siento,
That sounded good. What are you talking about? So let's get back to Elevate. When you made this in 2017, 2018, because it was released 2018.
The first festival was Downtown Los Angeles Film Festival, October of 2018.
Okay.
Yes, but the film has been, we've been making it for years, on and off, on and off. There's been some stops. Post-production took some time. It's been years in the making.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
So then it's really great seeing where it's at now.
Yeah, I'm very proud of the film. I'm so proud of our crew, our actors, just everyone, It's my first feature, so I'm just,
Kudos.
Thank you. Thank
Very
you so
nice.
much. Just, really inspired to make more. Lots to learn.
Yeah.
It's a huge learning process,
So
which is
with this
good.
being your first feature,
Mhm.
what would you say was a takeaway? What did you learn on the production aspect of it, making it?
Um, One of the reasons that it took so long is we didn't have proper financing. We financed this through family and friends, and we didn't finance enough. I'm pretty stubborn, so even though we didn't have the money, I just thought I don't care. We're gonna make this movie anyway.
There you go. Committed.
Yeah, but
But that's not how it works.
it does, but it's just gonna take a long, 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 long time.
Because we're working on other people's schedules.
Yes, exactly. Because if you're only paying someone, little to nothing, you don't have control over the situation. You have
Right.
to do it when they're available,
Right.
So that was painful because I'm
Yeah.
such an impatient person. So it definitely taught me patience. So the biggest takeaway for me is, my next project, I want to have fully funded. Fully funded. We did it, but it was so hard. It was so
Yeah.
hard,
Yeah.
But that's one of the reasons too. I'm so grateful for our crew and our cast because, oh my gosh,
Well, I mean,
angels, all of them.
no, congratulations on that. And the fact
Mhm.
that they were so patient with you in return. Because sometimes people just give up.
Yes.
They're
Oh,
just like, "Ah,
yes.
forget it. Next time.
And that's where films go to die, post-production,
Mhm.
Because that's when the rubber really meets the road. It's like, okay, what footage did we get? Did we get everything we needed?
Oh, yeah.
Is the sound okay? Oh, shoot, we didn't do that. We got to go back. Ay, ay, ay. Lots
Right.
can happen.
Right. Yeah, and that can be an issue because when you're in post production, does that mean you have to do a pickup date?
Sometimes you do.
some
Sometimes you have to go get some quick
ADR.
audio real
Yeah.
quick. Yeah, and you don't have the financing for that. How do you do it,
Exactly.
It's like, oh, can you just say these words on your cell phone and just we'll fix it up
Fix
in audio,
Fix it in post.
Ay,
Yeah.
So yeah, it was quite the process, but again, I'm very proud, and I hope people, watch it when we go live July 2nd. I'm super excited.
So July 2nd, which is
Yes.
Tuesday, it's going live.
Yes.
Where is it going live?
I believe, yes, on iTunes and Amazon. Yes, and a
Okay.
few other platforms, but those are the main ones: Amazon Prime and iTunes, and I believe Google Play as well.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So, after that, I don't know exactly what happens. Again, this is my first time, so I'm kind of learning as I go, like how this whole distribution thing works.
Right. And are you self-distributing it, or you have a distribution company that's assisting you?
Yeah, we're working with Gravitas Ventures.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yes. So it's been again a learning, so much learning.
Congratulations, because I hear that they pick out like every year only a certain amount of what they're going to distribute is what I was told. Ironically, by I think someone last week, not on the air, but off the air, and I think they told me that I believe it's 40,
Wow.
and I could be wrong, but I think it's something like that. So they do get a lot of submissions, and
Right.
then out of those submissions, they pick,
Right.
a certain slate amount, right?
We worked with a sales agent, sales representative, Glenn Reynolds at Circus Road Films, which has been really wonderful. And, this whole thing about distribution, I didn't know. You hear all
Mhm.
kinds of things. It's
Mhm.
hard to get distribution. And this is hard. That's hard.
Mhm.
That I just want to put out there, by the way. Yes, it's hard. It's all hard, but don't ever let anyone else's
Discourage you.
opinions, like, yes, it's
Yeah.
hard. I get it. Yes. But, anything worth having sometimes can be a bit of an uphill road. And one of the first conversations I did have with him, and I asked him, like, how do you choose your films and what does distribution look like? He's like, you know what? I tell people this all the time, the same thing. Just focus on making a good film. Make a good film, and the rest you don't have to worry about.
Right.
Like, interesting.
Good advice, though.
Good. It's simple, right?
Yeah.
Because I think we get so worked up around, okay, how do I do this and what am I going to do that? Like, what about the project? What are you saying in your film? What is the project? It's
Right.
not so much about all that,
Well, and then if
touch
you-
wood.
Right.
Luckily, that's been the case with us. But
No, absolutely. And the thing is like if you look at it, and I think this is where a lot of filmmakers get discouraged or lose themselves.
Mhm.
If you see it just as an art form, like it's my art, it's my baby, don't touch it, then unfortunately you are going to hit more roadblocks than not, right? You have to look at it from a business standpoint. So that baby that you're coddling is basically your business, right? And you have to, it's a product, and you want to make sure that it's a product that you know for a fact will, or you feel for a fact will generate the right views, will
Mhm.
hit the right people.
Yes.
People would want to see it.
yes,
If your product's not good, there's a lot of products that aren't good outside of this industry.
Mhm.
They don't go far. And the
Right.
products that are good go further. So if you look at it that way, then I think roadblocks are there regardless.
Yeah.
Because like you said, if it was easy, then everyone would be doing this.
Everyone would be making feature films with
mean,
no money.
Part of the issue that we're getting now, and that this industry is getting so saturated, is because of social media. You have so many people just putting stuff on YouTube, and then it gets lost. And there's a time where YouTube was like what Netflix was when it first started. Now Netflix has changed their platform, because before they would put a lot of independent films,
Yeah.
and now it's more based on what they themselves produce and put out
They're
there.
doing their original content,
All
and
that stuff.
actually we did have our film looked at Netflix early on, and one of our co-producers, Jessica, knew someone there, and so did our sales rep, and the feedback was really positive, but they were just like, there's no quote unquote names in the film.
Right.
And it's interesting to me.
Yeah.
It's interesting because you're absolutely right. When I think of Netflix, originally I think of, oh, they have so many independent, sort of films, but they're so busy, as is Amazon and all these other platforms, Hulu, creating their own original content, which is very exciting.
And they have the money to push
Yes.
their original content. So if you're an
Yes.
independent filmmaker and you're lucky enough to get into Hulu or
Yes.
Netflix or Amazon,
Yeah.
it's you that has to do all the work to advertise it and put that out there, because their money goes specifically for their own content.
Yes, exactly.
So-
and it makes sense. That's
Right.
what I would do too. If I had my own platform, I would pour money into my projects.
Exactly.
It makes sense.
You know.
As a business, you get it, know?
Right. And that's why they're doing that, because it's become so saturated that they're trying to lessen that saturation. Because a lot of filmmakers are there with their phones and saying like, yes, some people got lucky and was able to make a movie with their iPhone.
Yeah,
And
but
it
that
turned
doesn't
out
happen every day. Not
every day.
everyone is Sean Baker. He's a talented director. So
Yeah.
I like the idea of picking up your iPhone and making movies. Here's the thing, though. I think if that's something that's going to sort of, get your creative juices going and just to be in it and creating stuff, I think that's one thing. Definitely pick up your iPhone if that's all you have.
Right.
But I mean, maybe use it as practice.
Right.
Or if you do make a film, like look what Sean Baker did. It wasn't just one phone. There's a
Right.
lot of attachments and a whole.
Oh yeah. They invest a lot of money into it. I know
Yes.
some people that are
Yes.
trying to do things with their phones because they can't afford
Right.
a cinema camera.
Right.
They can't even afford DSLR.
Right.
So they're just getting the attachments to
Yes.
their phones and saying like, I'm doing the best I can with my phone. Now,
Yes.
I always advise them, like, there's so many things that we look at. Like we have our film festival, annual film festival, and the key components is how was sound, how was the image, how was the acting aside from the written work, because all those components together make
Yes.
something magical.
Yes.
If you're lacking on one thing, because I've watched films and it's like so great, and then the sound quality is just so off, you're just like, oh, that's too bad.
Yeah.
Because you're sitting there and you have to put up with that, and that's what you have to understand. You have to sit there and be like, oh, that's
It's
just
hard.
torture,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And it takes away from what you're watching, the talented actors that are on screen doing what they're
Yeah.
doing, the
true.
filmmakers, the crew that did everything that they could, because someone said, I can't afford sound, so we're just going to use, you know, audio from the camera sound.
No.
And I've had that, and I'm like, I had filmmakers get upset with me when I tell them that, and they're like, well, you don't know what it costs. I was like, no, I do, I understand.
But just like
It took you
anything
time.
else, yeah, it takes time or an investment. You have to invest. You're either going to invest time, or you're going to invest money. It's an investment.
Yeah, because it's a business.
It's a business. You have to invest. It
Yes.
doesn't. If everyone can pick up a phone and be the next Steven Spielberg, awesome. But
Right.
it doesn't quite work like that. It takes time.
It
It's
does.
very. It takes time.
And it's a lot of learning. A lot of learning.
And every project is so different too.
Oh yeah. And you learn something different. In every
Absolutely.
project. So every
Absolutely.
project is a film school. Every project is like film school.
It
You're like,
is.
oh, okay, got
Oh,
it.
absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. I didn't go to film school, you know what I mean? So making short films and these films, this is my film school.
Well, I mean, kudos to you, because you're far. I want to say, and I know you're gonna go further, but I'm
Aw,
saying, like,
thank you.
congratulations as to where you are now in life, and obviously the support that we
Thank you.
received today
My family.
is a huge thing.
It is
huge, because
support is crucial.
this industry is not easy, and if
It's
you
not.
don't have that support, if you don't have it from friends, from colleagues, from family,
Vital.
they're kind of like your life support.
It's vital. If I didn't have the friends and family I have, I probably would not even be in this business. I mean, I can't say that for sure, but I would say 99%
Right.
sure, because it is so difficult. You need to have that support. You
Yeah.
can't, it's too difficult otherwise. It's still difficult, you know what I
Right.
mean? But you have to have that support, and you have to surround yourself with people that do encourage you and inspire you and, you know, think highly of you,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because it's, as artists, we're so sensitive,
Absolutely.
right? So
Yeah.
any negative nugget seeping in, ooh, get that crap away.
Gone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. You have to.
Yeah.
For your own sanity, for your own, you know, journey, you have to, because there's plenty negativity in this world.
Right.
Right.
You don't
There's
need it.
plenty. There's
You don't need
it's
that.
all everywhere. I don't need it around me. No thanks.
Exactly. Well, I'm glad that that's a good note, because unfortunately it's time for us to wrap it up. Let's get where people can find you and where they can find Elevate. And I'm going to say I do highly recommend people watch this.
Thank you.
Congratulations on that. I'll, on Amazon, I have Amazon. I'll go ahead and watch it there. iTunes is an easy platform to get it too. So there's
Yes.
no excuse, folks. Watch it, learn, love it. So where can people find you? Where can they find Elevate?
Yes. Thank you. Elevatefilm.com. Elevatefilm.com is where all the links will be starting Tuesday of where it is online. And if you watch the film and you like it, I would love any sort of review on any of the platforms. I think that does help, from my understanding,
It
is just
does.
get the film more traction. If you don't like it, then you don't like it. That's okay too. You know, not every project is for everyone. That's fine. So yeah, definitely elevatefilm.com. And then I'm at angelamatamocha.com. And online on Instagram, we're at Elevate Film as well. Angela Matamocha, Twitter, Matamocha Films.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Angela, for being my awesome, special,
you.
inspiring guest today.
Thank you, Alexa, so much for having me.
Absolutely. Everyone have a safe and happy Sunday.
You.
You're listening to Female Filmmakers Fuse with Alexa Polar and Robin Pabello, only on LA Talk Radio.